Good morning. Good morning and welcome to First Church Unitarian in Littleton, Massachusetts for our last regular service of the year. Today we are celebrating the 100th anniversary of the UUA Flower Communion. We're also having a very special event today where we unveil this year's recipient of the Keeper of the Flame. My name is Bill Duston, and I am incredibly happy to serve as one of your deacons. It's great that you have found us today, and we are joining us for our hybrid service. And we particularly welcome any newcomers to our wonderful church community. Please read our Community Matters newsletter, which is available on our website at fculittle.org, where you will find information about our religious education program and other church activities. You will find information about our summer program, which will feature very interesting TED Talks on a variety of subjects. Also, you can read about the work that is being done for Reverend Laura's sabbatical next year. I'd like to remind you that next Sunday we will be streaming the Sunday service from GA, which will take place in the vestry at 11 a.m. next Sunday, not 10 a.m. It'll be at 11 a.m. next Sunday in the vestry. Finally, are you ready to stay after church today for our strawberry shortcake social? We've got a lot of strawberries and shortbread and even blueberries. It will be in the vestry hosted by the deacons, so don't miss it. Thank you and welcome to church.
Let us give thanks today for fathers who nurture and adore their children, for flowers that remind us to pause in wonder and awe, for the gifts of diversity and community. This is a miraculous, lush, gorgeous world when we open our eyes in gratitude and do what needs to be done to make life sweet and fragrant for beautiful beings everywhere. Let us worship. I'd like to invite Natalie to come up and light our chalice. All right. And as Natalie lights our chalice, please join me in the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Oops. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. I join with Bill in welcoming you here to First Church Unitarian here in Littleton, Massachusetts. My name is Lara Hoke, she, her pronouns, and I'm so happy and lucky to be the minister of this incredible congregation. Yeah. If you are new with us this morning, whether here in the sanctuary or with us online on Zoom or YouTube for the first time, we welcome you and hope that if you're in the sanctuary, you will stay after and join us for the strawberries. And if you're online, if you're close enough to drive here at the end of the service and join us for the strawberries, feel free. But in the meantime, if you're new, please feel free to ask anyone here in person questions after the service about the church, if you have them. If you are online, please go to our website if you haven't already, fculittle.org, and there all your questions can be potentially answered or find a way to contact us. So welcome today, this beautiful day. As Bill said, the 100th Flower Communion, Father's Day, and revealing the Keeper of the Flame. It's also on my liturgical calendar, Paul McCartney's 81st birthday. Just saying. All right. So our opening hymn is one written by the Reverend Norbert Chopik, who invented the Flower Communion. It's number 78 in the gray hymnal, Color and Fragrance, and you will see the words on the screen as well as in the hymnal. Sorry. That's okay. The window is playing tricks. Oh, I got too much breeze. We'll do this for real.
So, can you hear me? Sort of? There. How's that? That's good. This is what my dog would come to. So, if you are on the RE committee, have worked in RE, volunteered, made cookies, fed us, please come forward. Up here. Come on. Karen, Luann, Teresa, where's Susan, Monica, Debbie? Let's go. All of you, every one of you who've come. There's a lot more. So first off, I personally want to thank all these people because without them, RE would be close to impossible because we can't just have one person. So thank you so much. I think a round of applause is definitely in order. And wait, don't go. I have a little gift. And this gift has a lot of symbolism. So, a chalice that I made with a heart, bubbles because life is beautiful and fun and quick, and a glow ring because who doesn't want to glow? Now, it's your little light. So this particular one I have found sometimes has difficulty, just like we do. So you might have to give it a couple of hits, just like we do in real life. So please take one of these little packets on your way back to your seats. And thank you so much. And don't forget, if you all want nice gifts next year, come work in RE.
It's fun because Thea is really a great RE leader. And Mike's cookie.
Bring that to Oliver. Oliver, you get one too. And Lara, you did coming of age. I gotta really keep you people aware of what you're doing. So this morning's story is from, what's it called? StoryCorps that NPR does. And it's really a wonderful place for people to remember one another. This story caught my attention because we always hear about mothers who do incredible things for their children and change their lives for their children by themselves. And this is a more unusual story, and it's about a dad. And I hope you enjoy it.
I wasn't planning on having you as my roommate. I actually thought that if Bowdoin College knew I had you, they wouldn't let me come to college. So I hadn't mentioned it to anyone. And I got a job working at Staples, cleaning at night. And I had to take you in with me at work sometimes and hide you in the closet. I think I lost something like 27 pounds just from stress and not eating because I didn't have enough for both of us. My basketball teammates were my first babysitters. I just remember coming from class and there were 4 giant guys and then there was this 18-month-old who was tearing up the room.
Were you ever embarrassed bringing me to class or just having me in general?
I felt a little awkward, but never embarrassed. There were times when the only way I could get through was to come in and look at you and see you sleeping and then go back to my studies. And my graduation day from Bowdoin is a day I'll never forget. You know, all of my classmates, they stood up and gave me the only standing ovation.
I remember walking up with you and having my head in your shoulder.
Yeah. The dean called both of our names as he presented us with the diploma.
So technically, I already graduated from college.
Nice try. The degree only has my name on it, so you still got to go.
I really admire your strength, and I love you.
I draw my strength from you. I always have, and I still do.
On days like the Flower Communion, it's so easy to feel gratitude for this incredible community, a community that is self-sustaining, relying on the generosity of its members and friends with gifts of time, talent, and treasure. In that spirit, this morning's offering for the good works of this congregation will now be given and received in grateful appreciation. Please join with me in the words of our community response. We are grateful for the opportunity to give and serve, and grateful for the gifts we have received. May this affirm the ministries of our church community, both within and beyond these walls. The moment many have been waiting for, the presentation of the Keeper of the Flame Award. If we could have the next slide. The list you will see of the past winners of this award. And I'll just let you look at those for a while we do this presentation. As you can see, it all started with our own Joyce Williams and all the wonderful people who have followed. This award honors somebody from this congregation, a member who has gone above and beyond and just served the congregation in a way that could never be repaid, and it's our way of showing gratitude. So with that list to keep us contemplating these great folks, I'd like to invite up two wonderful outgoing leaders, our outgoing head deacon, Bill Duston, and our outgoing standing committee co-chair, Karen Tucker-Barisano.
So this morning, Bill and I have the pleasure of awarding the Keeper of the Flame Award. How lucky are we to do this as one of our last acts, if you will. So since 2009, of course, the executive team has awarded a Keeper of the Flame and to an FCU member for outstanding service to this community. Nominees for the award are made by any FCU member or staff member. The qualities that we look for in a Keeper of the Flame nominee includes service to FCU above and beyond the call of duty, strong examples of personal ministry to our church and our community, leadership in performing a difficult, crucial body of work for FCU, and a consistent, high quality of work. The very first recipient, as Reverend Lara pointed out, was Joyce Williams, and it's a tradition that we have come to really look forward to, as it really lifts up people in our congregation that are not as visible to you. This year, we had so many nominations, and they were wonderful and worthy of this award, which makes it even harder for us. So we would like you to sit back for a moment, relax, and let us tell you a little bit about this nominee.
Thank you.
Again, we want to thank the members who put forward so many worthy candidates with such a range of skills and talents. It made our job that much tougher. So let's go. But first, I'm going to give you a big hint about our recipient, which will narrow the field considerably by saying that the Keeper of the Flame for 2023 is a guy. Yes, a guy among our members, but not just any guy. You know, sometimes when your friend comes to you, your church friend, and says they have a problem, and he or she can't solve it, and you say to them, I know a guy. Well, our recipient this year is that guy, who is not just a guy, but he is the guy that we all want to know to help fix that problem. He is a guy who would drop everything to help you troubleshoot your problem, build a ramp at a member's house who was disabled, rebuild your CPAP machine so that you could breathe at night, fix your KitchenAid, your vacuum, your radio, and digitize your CDs. Remember those? He would fix the parsonage heating system. How many of us has he helped move by organizing a group to assist in that effort?
He is a guy who would help you with your boat, or better yet, offer you his boat for the summer, who gives selflessly of his time and energy cooking for so many groups in this church. Oh, and this guy, would run over to the church at 10 o'clock after receiving a call, or drop off food at a congregant's house just because. He answers my calls at any time of the day, and not just because I'm the chair of the standing committee. This guy is a mainstay of help at the fair, the coffee house, and so many church-wide events. So here are some of the comments that many of you made within the congregation in nominating this guy.
He has worked tirelessly, both in the shadows and in the open. He epitomizes what I think the Keeper of the Flame stands for: length of service, quality of service, and quantity of service. It is important to mention how many individual church members, myself included, that he has helped out throughout the years. A leader in the trash and treasure operation at the fair for as long as I can remember. When the parsonage needed de-leading, the standing committee turned to him because they knew the job would be done right. He oversaw the new heating system being put in. He kept the internet running, helps with staff technology, and is responsive to the needs of the church.
Remember when this guy was wearing a sling that started when he was reworking the Barbara Chapin granite bench outside the church? His offer of advice and muscle is always sought after in the talent auction, probably because he is very talented, but kind and generous. When the church needed a new network to support our online worship, he not only led that effort, but spent countless hours installing, configuring, and troubleshooting it. He was also one of the guys who got called when there were glitches with that old boiler heating system. He does so much for our church, and much of it is low-key and behind the scenes. Here are a few examples of things he's done that come to my mind. He rebuilt the motor, providing air to the organ. He opened up the registers in this sanctuary and found motors and filters that had not been maintained in countless years. We don't know. And he brought them home, he took them apart, fixed them, and reinstalled them. So most of these group projects have been accompanied by many solo hours of his time. This year's Keeper of the Flame recipient exemplifies years of service to FCU and to our greater community. Our guy has his own brand of personal ministry to this church and beyond. Our guy has tackled some of the largest projects with creativity and diligence, and he supports his leadership team in so many ways that we are ever grateful for. This old building needs a lot of time and attention, and our guy puts in endless hours of love above and beyond. Our guy is, as you may have guessed, the 2023 Keeper of the Flame. Thank you, Hugh Vartanian.
So a few people have asked me why I was dressed up today. And I kind of told a little white lie that I had a graduation to go to afterwards. The truth is really, I'm rushing for membership of the Congregational Church, and this is part of my hazing. It's actually not a surprise that I'm getting the Keeper of the Flame, because if any of you have been camping with me, you'll know I'm always putting too much wood on the fire. There's a Three Stooges episode where Curly is in the wrestling ring, and he's kind of overmatched by his big opponent, and his support team plays a little charge to battle Diddy on their little bugle, and the sound of the horn drives him into a frenzy. You know, he can't contain himself. Well, the presence of something that needs fixing or building anywhere near me is kind of my trumpet call, my call to action. I just can't resist a project. So it's not entirely clear if I actually want to help out or I just have to help out. So I'm not really comfortable with public accolades, as they alluded to before. Luann would tell you, usually to her wonderment, that I live to fix things and not tell anyone. I'm comfortable, you know, with the knowledge that I helped out in kind of a Secret Santa kind of way. One example up here, this microphone, I don't know if any of you remember in the old days, all through the service, people were fussing with it. It would vibrate and give all this feedback. So I snuck in here and found out that the hole was too small, and I made it bigger, so now the rubber mount does its job, and I would just sit there enjoying that nobody had to fuss with the microphone anymore, even if they didn't notice. It's pretty humbling to receive this. It's an honor to be included with the list of other folks that were up there, most generous and capable. It's quite rarefied company. Thank you. A couple more things. I don't know, a little bit here. Engineers by way of vocation and necessary, perhaps in contrast to their popular misconception that we're all about yes and no and right and wrong and black and white and, you know, have this digital view of the world. We really live to juggle lots of competing forces. Project activity begins importantly with determining and reaching agreement on the requirements and needs of the community. And from there, we move into the nuts and bolts of schedules and costs and safety and convenience and longevity and aesthetics, and indeed here, spiritual aspects of our efforts. One example of this I'm actually standing on is this step here at the podium, which I made. That request started with a request to cut down the podium. You know, just let's take this beautiful piece of woodwork made by one, I think by one of the famous Henrys of our history, and just cut 6 inches out of the middle of it and make it look right. So we considered that and decided not to do it. But, you know, it had some requirements. It had to fit just so, no feet dangling over the front, plenty of room to shuffle and dance. So I'm actually going to pick it up. It's kind of T-shaped, as you could see. And inside, it has 2013 Hugh Vartanian inscribed in it. It's got some little artwork by freehand, you know, little ditties here on the front and back. It's very sturdy with its angled feet. And it actually has a spiritual thing in it, which most people don't know about. The caps on the screws are made with different color species of wood to kind of represent our diversity thing here. So when you're all standing on this, you can have a new appreciation for it. So there you go. So whether I'm conceiving, procuring, guiding the installation of some project, a number of them were mentioned, or participating in some administrative, environmental, or spiritual effort around here, my heart and mind or hands are as fully engaged as they could be on behalf of our community. I, as we all do, try and act respectfully of the past, support of the present, and with a keenly focused eye on the future. It's by no means without the help, drive, and energy of many of you that I have the joy and honor to work and play here at FCU. Many times I've made a call for help and have been met with enthusiastic response and energy. People crawling around in hot and dusty attics, running wires for the vestry sound system, cutting holes in the ceilings with plaster falling in their faces for the networking, whatever, all in gracious support and trust of some crazy idea running around in Hugh's head. So you all have a share in this award today. I could not, and indeed would not, do it without all of you. I really love this community. It's with great gratitude and thanks that I'm able to assist and participate where I can in our physical, operational, and spiritual activities. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Hugh. Well deserved. And to think I was one of the people who wanted to cut down the podium. I'm sorry. Also, in addition to all this staff troubleshooting he runs over at any moment to help us with, he put a new fan and tube in my guitar amplifier. So thank you, Hugh. Little perk. Hugh's the best. Today, we do celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Flower Communion, a Unitarian Universalist tradition. It begins with, as I mentioned for our opening hymn, the Reverend Norbert Čapek, who founded the Unitarian Church in former Czechoslovakia. He introduced this ritual to his congregation back in June 4th, 1923. He was feeling the need for a symbolic ritual that would bind Unitarians together, and he chose a communion service concept because he knew that many of the Unitarians who had left Roman Catholicism would be familiar with that. Čapek contributed much to our movement. He wrote more than 90 hymns, many of which are still in use in Europe and a few of which are still in our gray hymnal. But he's best known for his invention of this flower communion and for the brave way that he died. Čapek lived in Czechoslovakia when it was ceded to Nazi Germany prior to World War II, and he was a very courageous man who spoke out against the racism and oppressive policies of the Nazis. And eventually the Nazis captured him and shipped him off to the death camps at Dachau, where he was killed in 1942. Which makes Čapek one of our tradition's martyrs. And it makes the celebration of the Flower Communion that much more poignant. The ritual is simple. Many of you brought a flower or flowers with you this morning, and they have been gathered together here up front. And together they create a beautiful, unique, diverse, even quirky bouquet. Perhaps not unlike this beautiful, unique, diverse, even quirky congregation. In a moment, Molly will play music, and we will come down the aisle and take a flower that we did not bring. This is not unlike the times that someone from this congregation does something wonderful for you or for the congregation as a whole, and you might not even know who that person was. We give and receive in grateful appreciation here. We are givers and receivers of gifts without keeping tally. That's part of grace, and we know that grace happens here at FCU. These are the words that Čapek used as he consecrated the flowers at his church in Prague. He prayed, "Infinite Spirit of life, we ask your blessing on these flowers, your messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be one in desire and affection and devotion to holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of the most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do your work in this world. And so let us begin the receiving of the flowers this morning. Thank you for the gorgeous music today, Molly. A meditation by the Reverend Gary Kowalski. Take a moment now to contemplate your flower. Notice it has a center, a focal point from which everything radiates. Ask yourself where your own center lies. Flowers stretch up toward the life-giving sun. Ask yourself, toward what lofty aim does your own soul aspire? Flowers have roots hugging the earth. Ask yourself, where do you draw your own strength and nourishment? As we go forth this day, may we grow in beauty, in light, in cheer and joy, and share our gifts as freely as these pleasant flowers bloom. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. I invite you to rise and body your spirit for our closing song. It's The Rose, and the insert has the lyrics, and they're also on the screen.
It is the power, and you, it's only it's the heart that never stands. It's the peace of faith that never stands. It's the heart when the night has been and the world has been too far, and you think that love waiting for the love. Nothing can are beneath the bitter snow. I see that bitter love in the spring becomes
My beautiful bouquet of lovely people. For our closing words, please, if the person next to you is comfortable and you wish to hold hands, you may do that, or touch shoulders or feet or anything that works for you, or simply reach out to feel the energy between us and those who are online as well. May Sarton writes, "Help us to be the always hopeful gardeners of the Spirit, who know that without darkness nothing comes to birth, as without light nothing flowers." Thank you for being wonderful gardeners of the Spirit, that even in the darkness we know that we can help each other come to birth and bloom. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen. Please be seated.
Who wants to know the password for the membership directory? Raise your hand. Okay. It's the number 7, principles, with a capital P and an exclamation mark. Monica would want me to say with a bang, because that's geek talk, but it ends in an exclamation. The number 7, principles, capital P, exclamation mark. Principles, plural. Here?
Are we on here?
Wonderful, thank you.
One other
So please
announcement.
join us for the Strawberry Social.
I think so, Neela.
Also,
I
if
think
you
we're
would
on.
like to join Zoom
Yeah, just waiting
in
for
the
Ann
chat, the
and
link
Jan
is on
to
Reverend
unmute.
Laura's message.
Yeah, but I'm not host
Laura
yet.
Simple would like to get
So-
a picture
Do,
of
we don't really need a
all,
host, do we? Except for the end.
Keeper of the Flame
Oh, now I'm
award
host,
winner. So
okay.
please meet at the front of the sanctuary. Keeper of the
Good.
Flame
So the
award
only
winners.
thing about hosting is it gives you the power to tune out.